I've been working in a department store that sells cheap Chinese-made products, everything from spoons and knives up to Bluetooth speakers. Everything is $10 or less, so you can already guess the type of quality you get. The job is not what I anticipated after leaving high school and beginning to work on my own. I moved out right after high school, so I needed to pay rent, which is why I'm working the department store now. The pay sucks, but it will get me by until I can find a better job. We're located in the bad part of town, as there is always drug dealers sleeping on the sidewalk outside the store. The local police no longer makes them move, so we place some signs in front of the shop to keep them from laying down in the entrance. They still manage to lay behind our signs and take naps in the middle of the day after roaming the city all night looking how to get their next fix of drugs. This is an eye-opening moment for me, as I would never want to end up in that situation, so I'll continue focusing on a future and focus on my goals. I just bought a car for $2,000, which I managed to get with a $200 down payment. It runs good so far and gets me back to my apartment and work as needed. After leaving work one evening, there was a note on my car attached to the door handle. I grabbed the note and continued to enter my car. I turned on the vehicle as I put my seatbelt on and I opened the note. It read, "I'm watching you." I looked around to see if someone might have been spying on me while I was walked to my vehicle. I saw nobody looking besides the few homeless guys sitting on the curb drinking tall canned beers. I didn't think it was one of them, as I have never had any personal encounters with them in the past. I crumbled the note, throwing it out my window as I exited the parking lot heading home. I was at a red light when an old black vehicle pulled beside me. They rolled down their window and attempted to get my attention. I was already panicked about receiving the letter. Now some stranger wants to make contact with me while driving. I slightly rolled down the window as I could hear the man saying, "You have a flat tire in the back." My eyes grew wide open as I pulled into the next gas station hoping I could just put some air in it and get home. When I pulled in, I noticed a large slice on the side of the tire. Someone had jabbed a knife into my tire while it was parked at work. I called my dad, which helped me get a tow truck to take my car to the shop for a new tire. The next day I took an Uber to work since my car wasn't ready yet. I was covering a co-worker's shift, so I only had to work 4 hours today, which I decided to take since I now needed extra cash for a new tire. I was stocking the shelves in the electronics area as I see an elderly lady walking down the aisle with her shopping cart staring at me. She continued walking towards me as I turned to her and asked if she needed help finding anything. She asked, "Where's the bleach?" I told her it was on the next aisle, in the middle section. There were several options to pick from. With no emotion, she said, "Thank you, but they're watching you." As she slowly began walking away, I said, "Excuse me, ma'am? Who is watching me?" She ignored me and kept walking as I watched her turn the corner away from my view. I was freaked out why this old lady would tell me they're watching me. I walked behind her and met her in the bleach aisle. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, could you please tell me why you said they're watching me?" The old lady, grabbing a gallon of bleach, places it in her cart and replies, "I don't know what you're talking about." I watched her as she walked to the register and paid for the bleach bottle, then walked out the store. I have no idea what's going on, and now I'm paranoid thinking something bad might happen to me. I have no idea who is watching me and who placed the note on my car. I work in a pet shop. We sell everything from small 2-month-old puppies up to large 6-foot snakes. My favorite are the fish though. I've kept fish my entire life in aquariums, so I know everything about them before I began working here. One of the strong points for me getting this job was the knowledge of aquarium fish keeping, which my boss wanted to expand the fish area and sell more tropical species instead of the usual ordinary guppies and goldfish. Over the following weeks, we received new fish in tanks, live fish for our pet store. I've been working on getting everything acclimated little by little, and we're seeing progress as we have expanded 10 new tanks with dozens of new fish options. My boss was fairly impressed when they saw the new setups I did, and instantly put me in charge of the fish area. I got a slight pay raise along with this new title, and I would be responsible for ordering new fish and species. This sounds really cool, as I get to live out my dream of ordering all types of fish at the expense of the business. Of course, they're not my own, but I get to set them up and care for them meanwhile customers purchase and take them home. While I am in charge of the fish section, I also have to help run the entire store, including cleaning other animal cages, attending customers, and even cleaning the restroom several times a day. I really enjoy the job and plan on learning how the entire business works so I can someday open my own pet store and live out the dream of being a business owner while owning a wide variety of pets. We have a gentle flow of customers on a daily basis. I would say every 5 through 10 minutes a new customer walks in. The majority come in for feeder mice and feeder crickets for their pets they have at home. We have to bag these up upon request, so when someone walks in, we instantly greet them and ask if they need help. They usually tell us they need feeder mice or crickets, or they're just coming in to look around. It was near closing time one evening. It was me, the boss, and one new employee who was in the back area cleaning the puppy kennels before closing. Nobody had walked into the store over the past 20 minutes as we are notified by a ringer noise that is a sensor activated every time a new customer walks in. While I was cleaning up the back counter area of the register and sorting all the paperwork for the day, I heard a voice coming from the fish room. It sounded as if someone was talking to themselves, followed by a, "Can I get help?" I looked up, surprised, wondering who asked for help since there were no customers. The boss was in the restroom for the past 5 minutes, and the new worker was on the other side of the shop cleaning the kennels. I shouted, "Coming!" as I headed over to the fish room, expecting to greet someone that needed help. As I walked in the open door, there was nobody there. The voice I heard coming from the fish room was nowhere to be seen. I stepped out and searched the surrounding area with nobody in sight. We didn't have a radio on or a TV, so I know I heard someone ask for help. My boss stepped out of the bathroom at this point when I asked her if she called for help. Confused, she laughed and said, "Don't worry, I can handle the bathroom myself. I don't need help." I walked to the back room to ask the new employee if she heard someone asking for help, and she replied she hadn't heard anyone in the store for the past 20 or so minutes. I'm still confused to this day as to what I heard in the fish room that evening as we closed. It's been a few weeks, and I still have not heard or seen any other unexplained encounters. I started to think the mix of work and school might be making me hear things, but I'm still pretty sure some random voice asked for help that one evening. I work in a large hardware store, similar to Home Depot and Lowe's, but it's a smaller chain, not so well known. We are very busy during the summer months. Everyone from construction workers to families come into the store looking for the items they need for the job. I work in the wood department. It's 2 aisles long, and I love the smell of fresh cut wood in the morning while I sip my coffee. I work on the forklift, which people always seem to be amazed since I'm a small petite girl driving the large heavy machines. I'm only 19 and started working here a year and a half ago, and so far I'm really enjoying the job and looking forward to moving up in management as the time comes. I ran into an old high school friend earlier this morning who I hadn't spoke to since I graduated. She was amazed to see me working at the hardware store doing big jobs compared to her working at the local shoe store. Sometimes I do wish I was just sitting in a shoe store helping small amount of customers find their next pair, but the pay is good here, so I'll continue working my 40-hour weekly shifts. We had some small talk when she asked me if I knew where the lamps were. I pointed down to aisle 12 and told her the entire aisle has different options to choose from. She gave me a hug goodbye and she walked down the store looking for her lamp. Later that evening, I was helping a middle-aged man cut some 2x4 pieces of wood down to 4 feet in length. We have a large electric saw in the back area of the store we use to cut wood for customers who need it. The man was rather polite. He introduced himself as Bruce and told me how he had gone to the same high school I did, graduating back in year 2000. He had then left our town to live with his mother in Germany and decided to come back when he turned 18 and had finished his studies. Like most customers, we continued small talk as usual while he loaded up the wood in his cart and we headed back to the register. His total came out to $45 and he paid with cash. I handed him his receipt and he thanked me for the help, handing me a $20 tip. I had never been tipped before on this job, and in reaction I told him, "No, it's okay, thank you." But he placed it in my pocket in my work apron as he walked out and said goodbye. A week had gone by when I was stocking the shelves with fresh new lumber that had been checked in late yesterday, when my coworker jogged over to me and said, "Gabby, someone is on the phone asking for you." Confused, I wondered why someone would ask for me when any employee could assist them as I could. I thought maybe my parents were calling, but they could reach me on my cell phone directly if they needed to. So I walked back to the counter, picking up the phone as I said, "Hi, this is Gabby." A calm man's voice said, "Hi Gabby, it's Bruce. I was wondering if I could take you to dinner this week." I stood there in silence and I said, "I'm sorry, I can't do that since I'm currently at work." Hoping he would get the point, I wasn't interested. He replied, "Okay, I'll come by later tonight to ask you in person." As he hung up the phone, I stood there quietly as I could feel my heart slowly beginning to race. Why would he come in person to ask me? I had all type of thoughts running through my head. Was he going to hurt me? Try to kidnap me? Or was he just asking for a normal date? The evening came by when I saw one last car pull into the parking lot. I could see from the desk it was the man named Bruce. I asked my male coworker if he would accompany me to my car since the creepy man had arrived to ask me on a date in person. He laughed and told me no problem as he took off his work apron while he clocked out. As I walked out with my coworker, Bruce exited his vehicle and stood by his door, sparking a cigarette looking in my direction. He instantly began swearing at me. He became irate when he saw me with a coworker and began calling me all kinds of slurs. He shouted, "This isn't over. You better watch your back," as he slammed his car door, screeching his tires as he drove off. I went back inside and reported the incident immediately to our HR department, and they said they would have their undercover security guards on duty making sure this man no longer enters the store.